This is the Water Quality Association podcast, promoting the betterment of water quality around the world.
Making sure we're meeting with the right officials, we're getting into the right seats with the right tables so that we can influence decisions, and then making sure professionally we're ready.
This is our annual visit with the incoming president of the Water Quality Association at the annual WQA Convention and Expo. And welcome to the podcast from the Water Quality Association, the leading voice of the residential, commercial, and industrial water treatment community. I'm Wes Bleed. Be sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the podcast so you never miss a show. We also feature our podcasts on YouTube. This episode is brought to you by Coral Protec powered anode rods for water heaters. With a 20-year warranty, Coral Protec eliminates sulfur smell in hot water within 24 hours and prevents tank corrosion without any maintenance. A must-have for homes with softened water. Enjoy hassle-free hot water with Coral Protec. In this episode, WQA's Associate Marketing and Communications Director Susan Keaton sits down with newly installed WQA President Mike Mitchell, Director of Engineering for Helen of Troy. You'll hear how Mike first got involved with WQA following the Flint, Michigan water crisis, what makes him unique among past presidents of WQA, and what he feels is the single most important factor WQA has as it continues its pursuit of quality water in the year ahead. Plus, we'll have our WQA Tip. And now on to Susan Keaton and Mike Mitchell on the Water Quality Association podcast.
We are here at the 2025 WQA Convention and Expo, and we're here with our new president, Mike Mitchell. We just took office a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
And has already had a very busy couple of days.
It's been busy. Yeah. It's been busy. Yeah. What fun.
Yeah. So what do you, the show seems to be really lively this year. Well, what are you hearing?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of engagement. I think the way that it was set up with a lot of panels where you can have a lot of open discussions is important. I think the topics that we choose to talk about are also important. I think there's certainly a lot of energy around people wanting to be more involved with water purification and how we might help with municipal issues. And I think it's something that's close to everything that I want to be when I grow up. So I think that's a lot of the energy. And I love being here. I think it's been good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Well, it's very exciting having you take office at this particular time. Why don't you tell us, though, for people who don't know you, why don't you give a little bit about your background and how you got involved in this industry?
Taking office is a little scary. I may come across as being super confident, but I'm actually a little bit of an introvert. So my training, I'm an engineer. I went to the University of Michigan. I'm more comfortable, probably. It's Go Blue. Got a national championship. I'm more comfortable, I think, in the lab setting. I'm a science nerd, but when it's important, I think these conversations need to happen. And so I've talked to the leadership. I've been involved with the board of directors for a few years now. We've been very busy working on a strategic plan on how to make the Water Quality Association even more important to the industry out there, and they've just pulled me along. And so, as I said, I think during the speech, DJ Shanahan, who's we just did the Hall of Fame award for him, he saw something in me that I don't normally see in myself, and that was to step up into a leadership role. And so far, it's been so good.
Good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We're so glad. What about the days when you got started with, you were involved in Flint, in the crisis there. Yeah. And what did you do there? And
so that was probably the first time I physically reached out to the Water Quality Association. The pure business, again, is mostly headquartered in Boston. And at the time, we didn't have a lab for doing a lot of water chemistry testing. And we were asked to travel to Flint during some of the earlier days there and try to make sure that the products that we supply and others that are WQA members actually work and could be effective in Flint. And so I reached out to the Water Quality Association and I said, you guys have labs, and could you partner with us to kind of look at the water that we test and kind of determine with the EPA if this is safe. And so I went to Flint. I was there early. We went into a lot of homes, got to meet a lot of the residents. that were involved in that. And it was just a moving experience, because I tell you, a lot of the people that I saw reminded me of my family and members of people that I grew up with. And so I wanted to be more involved after that and make more of a difference. And I've been somewhat, as much as I can be, vocal on the topic of that going forward, because a lot of these people didn't ask for the situation that they were handed. And a lot of them don't have as much understanding about the intricacies of water treatment and what might be in their water. They just know that when they took their kids in for testing, they were at high lead levels. And so I think as a country, we can do better. And we do better in so many other things. I think it's part of it is we just have to keep shining attention to it so people know it's a problem, and then keep being innovative and coming up with solutions that can be both cost effective but also very effective from a performance standpoint.
Yeah.
So that's my Flint story. I mean, after Flint, I was in Newark, I've been in Chicago, I've been in other cities like that. I think the stories are typically the same. We've got an aging infrastructure. We still have a considerable number of lead pipes in the ground. I support the efforts that we have to try to remove at some period of time. I don't know if it's 10 years or 20 years, but as a country, as developed as we are, we still should not be using lead pipes as a main means of transferring drinking water.
Right. It's getting those out of the ground is going to be a long project, and
it is.
Expensive one.
Yeah. And I think the things that we offer, I think I mentioned in one of the talks, right now we tend to see water treatment as being very digital. It's either I have a lot of money and a lot of time and I can afford the resources to pull the things out of the ground, because I think they generally want to help and they want to make a difference. But if they don't have the money, then they don't do anything, and there's nothing that they can do. And I think that what the Water Quality Association certainly can bring is that third option that helps people understand that it's not digital, it's not one or the other. I believe wholeheartedly that the municipalities should have the funding to make this a permanent solution, but I don't want to wait until we can make these funds available. There are products that we can give people in the short term that make their lives better and protect children.
Yeah. Plus, one of the things you said in your speech was that what people in this industry do really matters and change people's lives.
Well, it's an exciting time to be in the Water Quality Association. There's a lot of things you can do for a living, but this is one where the things you do really can matter. And in the water quality industry, you have an actual opportunity to significantly change people's lives. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. What are your goals as president for the association? What do you want?
Well, I highlighted in a conversation I also had with Paulie after that was the importance of influence. A lot of companies you could think about, the most important thing they generate is dollars, profits. And for a trade association, it's really influence. Influence is the currency that you can use to get things done. And so for the Water Quality Association, what I want for is to have higher influence and be able to we had panels where we talk about seats at tables and virtual seats at tables. Influence is what gets you invited to those tables. And people realize that you have something that they need, then you get a seat at the table and you can influence the outcome of some of these decisions. And if your influence isn't high enough, you're just not involved in that process. And so I think as we go through the next year, I want to continue with the strategic plan. As I said, it's a little bit backwards. We're going to go, how do we increase awareness around the great things that the Water Quality Association does and who we are and what we stand for? Our advocacy, making sure we're meeting with the right officials, we're getting into the right seats with the right tables so that we can influence decisions, and then making sure professionally we're ready and we can address these needs. We come across professionally, we can talk to people and make sure that they understand what's in their water, why it's in their water, and what they can do to better protect themselves.
And the importance of advocacy. I know you were at the fly-in a month or so ago.
Yeah. I think we've got a pretty good playbook for the fly-in. So we go to Washington. I've been doing it for 5 or 6 years now, I think. I think the number of real senators and congressmen that we actually get to talk to goes up every year. We met with the senator that owns the agricultural bill, which is one of the biggest bills that they do annually, which has a lot of water quality things inside of it. And so I think we're getting more and more effective at that. I think the thing that we'd like to make some progress on is what do we do at the state and local level? And so right now, it's trying to understand what resources we need to really marshal together as an organization to try to get a little bit better, I think, at state and local. But I think federal, we've got pretty well figured out.
Yeah, great. Well, and you're going to be visiting some of those state and local associations this year, aren't you?
For the first time. I didn't even know we had so many. So I think for sure we're going to do the Eastern Quality Association, and I think we're going to Texas, but I think some of that's not yet been decided.
Yeah.
But it'll be important, but also exciting to meet some of those folks.
Yeah. What do you think that you, Mike Mitchell, bring to the role of presidency that maybe
well
seen before?
What does Mike Mitchell bring to the table? It's a loaded question.
Yes.
I'm not sure we want the answer.
I'd like you to answer it, yes.
Well,
So,
I tend to be, my whole career, I think, is more on the innovation side.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person that gets bored to some extent with the status quo. So I'm always interested to seeing if we break things and put them back together, can we come up with something that's different? Mm-hmm. And so I appreciate, and I think that's important, I appreciate what we have and the tradition associated with that, but I'm also interested in what else we can do, what else we can become, and what might we look differently in the next 5 to 10 years. So that's my biggest real interest is, when we build a strategic plan, what you're trying to say is, what do I need to do or be to be more effective? And so first you're acknowledging that are things that you've done and things that you do today that don't get you everything that you want. And then it's looking back after that and saying, do I have what I need in order to achieve that? And it may be different structures, different adding people, subtracting. It's that conversation that says, how do we evolve into this changing world, and what does that might look like in the future? So that's what's exciting to me, and hopefully that's what I bring.
Right. When you got involved with volunteer work at WQA, were you on some committees or something beforehand? Do you want to?
Well, the first time that I actually started, what happened after Flint was Paulie came to me and said, wouldn't it be interesting to put a committee together that just looked at emergency response?
Oh.
And so how do we take on the ground action that I kind of led, and they helped participate in and do that again? And so we started looking at, with a committee, what a blueprint might look like. And so we did a study actually where we looked at first defining a crisis. And so we had a university, we ended up with Corona finishing the work, and we were looking at how many crises of water happened over the last 10 years. And so we had to define it. So we had to say it had to be more than impacting maybe 50 people. It had to be a health contaminant that was known to be at risk. And it had to be something where we didn't have a good resolution. And I think in that work, we estimated that anywhere from 50 million to 100 million people in this country at some point in the last 10 years have been exposed to some health-related contaminant in the drinking water. And so that kind of started getting me more involved and more interested in working with Water Quality Association to try to understand how do we make a difference in that and what that might look like. Mm-hmm. So I think that was the beginning of that. What kind of also thing that keeps getting me to come back to conventions is I meet so many good people. I'm always amazed. Like I started walking the floor today, and I ran into people that I hadn't seen in 3 years. And when I get caught up with them, I find they're doing some amazing things. And so this is an amazing industry with a lot of very talented individuals. And so coming to this trade show is a chance for me to reconnect with some professionals and rekindle some ideas on things that I want to do. So I think it's a great place just to come and meet people and think about what some new innovation might look like. There's a lot of talent in the water quality industry.
You were at the hydro pitch?
I was, yeah.
How did that go? What did you think?
I think it's a great idea. Yeah. Again, from an innovation standpoint, I like to celebrate people that are trying to do something different. Having them match up with mentors that have been successful in their careers, I think is an exciting idea. And I think it's important for follow-up. I'd like to see next year what came out of those. I think those are be some of the most interesting conversations. So in this year, how did that work out? And then let's get the next group ready.
Yeah.
I actually really like that idea.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. I went by, I don't know if you went by on the show floor, but I went by and visited with each of them at their booths and had a drink of that water that was made from the air. And that was really good. And it was really fun.
I think it's fun, which I think is important. I think the ideas kind of demonstrate, I think the thing that I want for our industry is not to be too saddled with the same kinds of things that we've always done. So there are different ways to do water. There's different ways to make money in doing water, and helping expose our members to that, I think, is a neat idea.
Yeah.
Again, I probably have said, I'm not the kind of guy that looks for, it may seem odd. When people listen to me, it's hard for them to imagine, but I'm not the kind of person that seeks that role with a lot of visibility. I like to kind of walk around in the dark and talk to people, get to know them, and have those understandings. And so having people have faith in me that I could do this job is super important. I really respect the legacy of the presidents that have come before me, and I've talked to most of them, if not all of them, and all of them have had favorable things to say about me and the outcome come so far. But I thought it was important. I am not normal in this industry in that I'm not a dealer and I'm not on the manufacturing side traditionally. And I think I felt very welcome so far, and I've had great conversations. But I would say if you're thinking about taking a shot and becoming a president or working with the board of directors, I think you should do it.
So you have a different sort of perspective, too, on the industry than other people do with your science background.
Yeah, I thought they would put a science guy as president.
Yeah, soon. Right? Yeah.
He's probably going to write a few executive orders, and then he's going to be king, and then what's going to happen?
Well, you were really taking charge of it on the stage the other day, I have to say.
To be honest.
You said several times, I'm president now. This is the way we're going to do it. Yeah.
I think it's an interesting conversation in that what I tried to do was talk from what I really feel. And I think if you can do that, the teleprompter isn't as important. And so I would like, not as a challenge, but I would have those consider going forward that try to build that conversation around the things that you're passionate about. And I think that will help come across a little better, maybe, and a little different. So I would say that what I did was try to build that around conversations you and I had on what are those things that we think are meaningful, but then the words just come from how you really feel.
Yes.
And I hopefully that people felt that.
Yes. I think they did. I heard a lot of good compliments on it. I think this is going to be a fun year. I'm looking forward to it.
I do like to keep things a little lighter, and I like meeting people. So I hopefully, I'm very approachable, I hope. I want that to be the case. I don't know what being president means, but I'm a regular person, and I'd love to have as many conversations with people as I can, because I'd like to hear their stories. And one of the things that I would recommend as well is when I go to the floor and I look at the trade show, I want to know more about the people that are manning the booths as what they're manning, because I want to understand their story and how they got here, and because that tells me as much about the products as anything.
Sure.
And so I think if you're going to walk the floor, take some time to talk to the people that are in those booths, understand a little bit about who they are. They're people, they have dreams as well. Understand a little bit about that as well as those products. And I think you can bring some nice connections of this product, this person, and maybe come up with some things that are quite interesting.
Thanks. Well, Mike, thank you very much for this conversation. I think it's been great, and we're looking forward to a great year from you as president. And I'm sure that we'll have you on as a guest more than once in the next year.
Well, always willing to help. Appreciate the attention, and thank you as well.
Our thanks to Susan Keaton for a great interview, and congratulations to Mike Mitchell, the new WQA President. Our WQA Tip: did you know that customers can find a WQA member in their area by heading over to the WQA website and typing in their zip code? It's that simple. They can even see which members of your team have their WQA professional certification, another great benefit of being a WQA member. Learn more about becoming a member at wqa.org/membership. Thanks for joining us for the Water Quality Association podcast, bringing you the latest news and insights from the association, our members, and outside experts to help you better serve your customers and grow your business. Learn more about water and water filtration at our consumer website, betterwatertoday.org, and learn more about professional certification, the Gold Seal Product Certification Program, and how you can become a WQA member at WQA.org. Until next time, this is Wes Bleed. So long from the Water Quality Association.